Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So 32-year-old New York resident Frank Giustino, I think is how you pronounce it. He's a fun one, so be sure to watch and listen to the end. Giustino was your standard election denier. He posted on various social media platforms prior to the Capitol attack. On January 6th, he posted about the VP betraying Donald Trump, Vice President Mike Pence, of course. And he wrote in one post, quote, "They're firing tear gas at us." So he knew he was not welcome on the Capitol grounds. But he continued toward the building anyway, and he posted online, quote, "This is fucking awesome." So Giustino confronted officers. He told them, quote, "We don't want to hurt you. We don't. Stop, please." And a while later, Giustino was seen on surveillance video illegally entering the Capitol. He made his way through various parts of the building, and then he exited about 35 minutes after entering. The following day, Giustino posted a meme online. He was trying to justify the Capitol attack with Black Lives Matter protests. And along with a second meme, he wrote that the election fraud was, quote, "taking place by both parties for a very long time. Without fair elections, there is no America, and the Capitol means nothing." So Giustino was arrested on January 11th of 2022, and he was charged with entering a restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and parading or demonstrating in a Capitol. In February of 2023, Giustino pleaded guilty to the parading charge, so he faced up to 6 months in prison, 5 years of probation, and $5,000 in fines. Now, normally, this would be a boring case. This would be one, where there's no vandalism, no violence. The defendant would normally get a slap on the wrist. This time, though, the prosecutor requested almost the full sentence. The government asked for 4 months in prison, 3 years of probation, 60 hours of community service, and $500 in restitution. And they originally had asked for 21 days in prison, but because of Giustino's behavior after his guilty plea, they bumped up the prison time. Giustino believes he's a sovereign citizen. You all know how much I love these cases. So he refused to accept that the court had authority over him. These are the fun ones. So here's what's happened. Here's what increased the sentencing request. First of all, Giustino skipped a couple of court dates. He skipped a status hearing in June. Later that month, Giustino appeared via conference call, and that's where things got really spicy. Giustino told the judge he wanted the, quote, "prosecution off my back. This has been a nuisance, and I don't believe that there's any court." And he went on to say, in part, quote, "So I am here as a courtesy to this quote unquote court because I don't believe there's any real judicial officers here right now because you guys threatened U.S. Marshals on me. And this is a courtesy to hear you out and to hear what you guys have to say because I think I have made it pretty clear to all of you my intentions." And then he went on to question the judge's oath and authority, obviously something you read online. And Giustino said that his attorney wasn't his attorney, that he wanted to fire him. So, you can just leave. No offense, but you can just go. So the judge explained, "I can't just automatically dismiss your attorney. I'm required to determine if you understand the decision you're making to represent yourself and to confirm you're of sound mind to be making that decision." So the judge tried to ask Giustino the requisite questions, and at first he just refused to answer. Eventually, he started to answer because the judge said, "Look, unless you answer these questions, I can't dismiss your attorney." So he starts answering. And then the judge mentioned to Giustino, "Do you understand if you are incarcerated, blah, blah, blah." Well, that's when he became belligerent. And Giustino said, quote, It's not going to happen. There's going to be no sentencing because I haven't been arraigned and there's no court. There's no judicial officers present at this time. So then the judge asked Giustino's attorney, have you had any concerns about his competency? So a nice way of asking, you think he might be a little, insane in the membrane there? So a few minutes later, after several other questions, the judge asked Giustino, quote, have you ever had any legal education? And Giustino said, I have educated myself. So the judge ultimately granted Giustino's request. He allowed him to represent himself. And then it got really interesting when the judge tried to schedule a sentencing hearing. Giustino told the judge in part, quote, we're not doing any sentencing date. Have you guys heard anything I have said? Have you seen anything that I have filed? This is not a real court. There is not a single judicial officer here presiding on my case. We still have not addressed this oath issue. And quote, this is not going to make it to sentencing. I promise you that. Well, since I'm doing his sentencing video, he was wrong, obviously. Spoiler alert. So the judge warned Giustino, if you don't show up for the sentencing hearing, which was supposed to be July 13th, I'm going to issue a warrant for your arrest. So Giustino continued to act as if he was in control. He demanded that the judge discuss his so-called fraudulent oath. And then the judge dismissed everyone and reiterated, keep doing what you're doing, but I'm just going to let you know, you will be arrested if you're a no-show. Well, that's when Giustino completely lost it. He started saying that the judge should be arrested and that he was going to be put in default judgment, whatever that means. And then Giustino told the prosecutor, quote, Doug, you're an asshole. And then the judge told his clerk to mute Giustino, but before she had a chance to, he was heard saying, yeah, Doug, fuck you, by the way. So that all went down in late June. Well, by July 10th, Giustino had a new attorney. He hired someone else, and that attorney asked the court to delay his sentencing to September of 2023. And he wrote that Giustino, quote, apologizes for untoward language and speech. He reached out seeking legal advice after realizing that he was mistaken in believing he could represent himself. What? Really? I thought he educated himself in the law. I'm so confused. I think he should have gone for it. He should have gone pro se. That would have been so much fun. Anyway, this wasn't the end of it, though. It wasn't the end of his BS because Giustino was a no-show again at the September sentencing hearing. And he sent an email to the prosecutor and he demanded that his case be dismissed. And he said that his prosecution was the, quote, very definition of terrorism. I do not think it means what he thinks it means. So the judge issued a warrant for Giustino's arrest as he promised. And so he was taken into custody in October. That is where he has sat until his sentencing last week. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg presided over Giustino's case, and at the sentencing hearing, he told Giustino, quote, your behavior from the moment of the plea until sentencing has been about the worst of any January 6th defendant I've had. So Giustino must have had a come to Jesus moment by that time, sitting in prison, because he dropped all of his sovereign citizen nonsense, and he told Judge Boasberg, quote, I just want to go home. So Giustino was sentenced to 90 days in prison and $500 in restitution. Would have liked to see the full 4 months, but I'll take the 90. He has another 60 days or so in the pokey since he's already been in there for about a month. If this guy had kept his mouth shut, if he had not gone down this conspiracy theory, sovereign citizen rabbit hole nonsense online, he would have probably gotten probation only. Should have watched my show. If he had watched this show, he would know. especially with James Boasberg. You do not play with that judge. So anyway, I will let you know if I hear any more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like this video, share it, become a subscriber, please. Now, there's a lot of you out there watching who are not subscribed. Stop acting shady. Click the button. If you can donate or become a monthly donor, it really helps to keep the show going. Love you guys. Take care. Talk with you soon.